Ever wonder why some people seem to effortlessly build wealth, while others can barely get ahead? It's not about intelligence. It's not about luck. It's about habits. The rich don't wake up in the morning and just hope for success. They've built daily routines that work for them, routines that separate them from the rest. So what are these habits? What are the small actions they take every day that create massive results? In this video, I'm going to reveal 7 daily habits that separate the rich from the poor. And trust me, once you hear these, you'll look at your day completely differently. Get ready because these habits could change everything for you. Habit 1. They ruthlessly guard their mornings. The rich don't just wake up early, they treat the morning hours as sacred. Think about it. For most of us, the first few minutes after we open our eyes are filled with anxiety and distractions. We grab our phone, start scrolling through emails, social media, or checking the news. We let the outside world dictate our mood and priorities before we even get out of bed. But that's the exact opposite of how the wealthy approach their mornings. Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, wakes up at 3:45 a.m. to start his day. And no, he's not doing this because he's trying to squeeze more work into the day. He's up early so he can spend that uninterrupted time focusing on himself, whether it's reading, exercising, or preparing for the day. Oprah Winfrey has a similar routine. She meditates before dawn. These highly successful people know that the quiet hours of the morning are crucial for setting their mindset. You see, it's not just about waking up at an early hour. It's about using that time in a way that sets the stage for success. When you wake up in the morning, the first hour is critical because it's a time when your mind is most receptive, unclouded by the chaos of the day. The rich recognize this and spend that first hour of their day focusing on things that matter: personal growth, planning, goal setting, or just taking a moment for reflection. Think about your own mornings. Do you have a routine that serves you, or do you simply wake up and let the day happen to you? The wealthy have figured out that in order to stay ahead, you need to take control of your day from the moment you wake up. Mornings are their buffer time to get into the right headspace before they deal with the demands of work, meetings, or other distractions. Instead of rushing into your day, they use this time to focus on input, things like reading, journaling, meditation, or exercising. They're giving their minds the fuel it needs to tackle the day with focus and clarity. They aren't responding to the world. They're proactively designing the kind of day they want to have. Tip: tomorrow morning, before reaching for your phone or letting your mind wander, take a moment to write down one priority for the day. Choose something that directly impacts your financial growth or long-term goals. Guard that task fiercely. Don't let anything or anyone take you off course. When you make this a habit, you'll start seeing your productivity and clarity increase. And over time, this simple routine can have a massive impact on your financial success. Habit 2. They pay themselves first, literally. When it comes to wealth building, one principle stands out above all: pay yourself first. Sounds simple, right? But the reality is that most people do the opposite. The average person spends first, and whatever's left over, they save. And let's be honest, there's often nothing left over after paying for bills, entertainment, and the lifestyle that we've become accustomed to. But wealthy individuals have mastered the art of setting aside money for themselves before anything else. They don't wait until the end of the month to see what's left in the bank. Instead, they make saving and investing a priority before any other expenses. This isn't about getting by with a smaller budget or limiting your enjoyment of life. It's about building wealth by putting money into investments first, so your future grows as your money compounds over time. Let's break this down with an example. Imagine you get paid $5,000 each month. Most people, when they receive that paycheck, will pay their bills first. They'll pay rent, utilities, car payments, and then spend on non-essentials like dining out or entertainment. After all that's done, they might save a small amount, or maybe nothing at all. But the rich take a different approach. Before anything else, they automatically set aside a percentage of that $5,000, 20% for example, directly into investments, retirement funds, or savings accounts. They don't even see it. It's out of sight, out of mind. This method is often called paying yourself first, and it's crucial to building long-term wealth. Consider this: a small habit like skipping a $5 coffee every day might not seem significant, but if you save or invest that $150 per month, it's the beginning of building something much bigger. That $150 invested in a stock index or retirement fund can grow substantially over time. If you continue to pay yourself first, that money will compound. And before you know it, you'll have built a solid financial foundation. This habit of prioritizing saving and investing before spending forces you to live within your means and ensures that your wealth grows over time. It's not about making huge sacrifices in the short term. It's about creating the habit of financial discipline that pays off in the long run. Tonight, do one small but powerful thing. Set up an automatic transfer to a separate savings or investment account. Even if it's just 5% of your income, the key is automation. It's so much easier to save when you don't even think about it. The beauty of this habit is that it works whether you earn $2,000 a month or $20,000. The key isn't the amount, but the consistency and mindset of paying yourself first. Do this, and you'll have taken your first step toward financial freedom. Habit 3, they cultivate compounding relationships. When you think about the wealthy, one thing stands out. They understand the power of relationships. But here's the thing. Networking isn't about exchanging business cards at a conference or collecting a stack of contacts. For the rich, networking is more about cultivating deep, meaningful relationships. Relationships that compound over time, just like money does. They don't see relationships as a transactional exchange of favors or opportunities. They see them as an investment, something that can grow and develop over the years. Successful people are always thinking about how they can add value to others, not just what they can take. When you shift your mindset from, what can I get from this person, to how can I be of value? Your connections will deepen and become more genuine. The wealthy approach networking like gardeners. They don't expect immediate returns from the relationships they nurture. They plant seeds, they water them, and over time, those relationships flourish. They understand that by adding value to others, whether through advice, help, or simply offering a listening ear, they're building a network that will serve them in the long run. Now, the average person might avoid networking because it feels uncomfortable or because they don't see an immediate payoff. But for the rich, the payoff isn't always obvious right away. It's about compounding over time. That one conversation, that single helpful piece of advice, might not seem like much in the moment, but years down the line, it could lead to a partnership, investment opportunity, or game-changing business idea. The wealthy also realize that relationships are a two-way street. They are always looking for ways to give first, whether it's sharing an insight, making an introduction, or simply showing appreciation. They approach others with a generous mindset. They don't view relationships as a give and take. They view them as a give and give philosophy. Once a week, take a few minutes to reach out to someone you admire, not with a request, but with an offer. It could be a thank you note, an insightful article, or simply an appreciation message. These small gestures build trust, and over time, those connections can pay off in ways you never expected. Habit 4, they feed their minds, not their distractions. If you think about the habits that separate the rich from the poor, one of the biggest differences is how they spend their time. The wealthy understand the importance of feeding their minds with valuable information. They prioritize knowledge, growth, and learning, while others often indulge in distractions. Take Warren Buffett, for example. He spends up to 80% of his day reading. That's right, 80%. Whether it's books, reports, or case studies, he's constantly feeding his mind with valuable information. The average person, on the other hand, spends hours every day on TV or social media, consuming content that adds little to no value to their lives. The wealthy don't waste time on content that only entertains. They seek out content that enhances their skills, helps them solve problems, and broadens their knowledge. They read books, listen to podcasts, attend seminars, or watch educational videos that help them grow in both their personal and professional lives. Think about it. How many hours a week do you spend on entertainment versus personal development? The difference is huge. The average person might binge watch TV for hours each week, while the rich are consuming content that helps them make smarter decisions, solve problems, and create new opportunities. The key here is intentionality. The wealthy know that time is their most precious resource, And they don't squander it on things that won't help them move forward. Instead, they feed their minds with knowledge that compounds over time, just like money does. Tip: this week, replace 1 hour of TV or social media with something educational. It could be a podcast, an audiobook, or an online course. Start small, but make it a habit. You'll be amazed at how quickly the knowledge adds up and the opportunities it can unlock for you. Habit 5. They track every dollar like a CEO. Here's a truth that's often uncomfortable but essential. You can't grow what you don't measure. The rich understand this better than anyone. They treat their personal finances the way a CEO treats a company's balance sheet. They know exactly how much money is coming in, where it's going, and what kind of return they're getting on every dollar spent. This doesn't mean they're obsessed with pinching pennies or living frugally for the sake of it. It means they track their money with intention. Because to the wealthy, every dollar is a worker. It either builds wealth, buys time, or increases opportunities. And just like a good manager tracks employees' performance, the rich track how their dollars perform. They set financial goals and measure progress consistently. They know what their net worth is, they keep an eye on their credit score, and they monitor their cash flow weekly, sometimes daily. Whether it's reviewing investment performance, minimizing tax liability, or optimizing expenses, they're constantly auditing their money moves. Contrast that with the average person who checks their bank account only when they're worried something might bounce. Most people don't really know where their money goes. They might assume they're spending a certain amount on dining or subscriptions, but assumptions are often wrong. Studies have shown that people dramatically underestimate their discretionary spending. That's where leaks happen, and those leaks can quietly drain away thousands every year. Wealthy individuals also separate their finances into buckets: essentials, investments, future goals, and lifestyle. That way, every dollar has a job. Nothing gets lost in random purchases. When they spend, they do it with clarity, knowing how that expense fits into their broader plan. And let's be real, this habit isn't about having more money to begin with. It's about having awareness of what you're doing with what you have. Whether you make $3,000 a month or $30,000, the principle is the same. Clarity creates control, and control leads to freedom. Tip: download a budgeting app today, one that links to your accounts and categorizes your spending. For the next 7 days, track every single dollar, not to punish yourself, but to see. You'll probably discover hidden fees, wasteful habits, or better alternatives. That awareness alone can save you thousands per year and help you start thinking like a financial strategist instead of a spender. Habit 6, they practice strategic delay on spending. Impulse spending is one of the quietest wealth killers out there. One click, one swipe, one buy now, pay later decision. And just like that, money that could have built your future is gone, traded for short-term satisfaction. The poor mindset sees something and buys it. The rich mindset sees something and pauses. The wealthy practice what you might call strategic delay. They delay gratification, not because they can't afford something, but because they understand that impulse is the enemy of wealth. Jeff Bezos has a method he calls the regret minimization framework. He asks himself, will I regret this decision in 10 years? The rich apply a similar lens to spending. They ask, will this purchase still matter to me in 48 hours? This habit is crucial because emotions drive most spending. Excitement, boredom, stress. They all push people to buy things they don't need. The poor act on these feelings. The rich let the feelings settle before acting. Strategic delay is their buffer against emotional money mistakes. Now think about the sale ends today tactic. That's designed to trigger urgency, to make you buy now before you think. But the wealthy are immune to that pressure. They've trained themselves to wait, to reassess, to ask, is this thing adding long-term value or just filling a momentary gap? They also distinguish clearly between wants and needs. And even for needs, they ask, is there a smarter way to fulfill this? Instead of letting FOMO, envy, or boredom guide their wallet, they build a 24 or 48-hour waiting period into their spending decisions. That's discipline. That's strategy. Tip: starting now, adopt a simple rule. For any non-essential purchase over a set amount, say $50, wait 48 hours. Put it in your cart and walk away. Most times you'll lose interest. If after 48 hours it still feels like a smart, meaningful buy, go ahead. But use cash or debit. This habit alone can save you thousands per year. And more importantly, it sharpens your financial discipline like a muscle. Habit 7. They end their day with a postmortem. If mornings are about setting intention, then evenings are about reflection and correction. And this is where the truly wealthy separate themselves from the rest. Not just in terms of money, but in how they process their time. While most people collapse onto the couch, scroll through social media until they pass out, and let the day blur into the next, the rich take the last few minutes of their day to conduct what can only be described as a personal audit. It's what Elon Musk famously does, ending his day by asking himself, "What could I have done better?" And that single question reveals something crucial. Wealthy people don't just live through their days, they study them. They debrief, they reflect, they identify what worked, what didn't, and what needs to change. It's not just about productivity, it's about precision and growth. Think about how most people operate. They get through the day on autopilot. Maybe they hit a few goals, maybe not. Maybe they had an argument, missed a deadline, or wasted hours without even realizing it. And by the time evening comes, they numb themselves with Netflix, fast food, or doom scrolling, never stopping to ask, what did today actually cost me? What did it earn me? But the rich, they zoom in. They do a quiet mental post-mortem. It's not about shame or self-judgment. It's about awareness. They ask things like, did I spend my time today in alignment with my goals? What decision today moved me closer or further from financial freedom? What was my biggest distraction, and what can I do tomorrow to control it? This habit, repeated every night, becomes a feedback loop, and that loop turns average days into optimized ones. Little improvements compound. Tiny adjustments stack up. 1 degree better each night leads to an entirely different life trajectory after a year. This reflection can be formal, writing in a journal, or casual, like a mental walkthrough before sleep. Some wealthy individuals even use specific metrics: how many deep work hours they logged, how much unnecessary spending occurred, how they handled stress, or whether they said yes to something they should have said no to. It's not always comfortable. Sometimes the reflection stings. You realize you wasted 3 hours. You said something reactive. You didn't make time for your top goal. But here's the secret. The rich want that discomfort, because discomfort is a compass. It shows them where the next level is. The poor mindset avoids reflection because it feels like failure. But the rich mindset embraces it because it's the fastest way to get better. They know that improvement doesn't happen randomly. It's earned, and it starts with a brutally honest look at what really happened each day. Tip: tonight, take just 5 minutes, literally 5. Grab a notebook or the Notes app on your phone. Write down one win you had today, no matter how small, and one lesson or improvement. Do it every night for 30 days. In a year, you'll have 365 data points on how to become the sharpest, most intentional version of yourself. That's not motivation. That's a system, and systems build wealth. So there you have it, 7 habits that, at first glance, seem simple, but over time, they build an unshakable foundation for wealth. And here's the real kicker. None of these habits require $1 million to start. You don't need a finance degree. You don't need to be born into privilege. What you do need is intention, discipline, and the willingness to live differently than most people, so you can live better than most people. Because wealth isn't about luck, it's about design. It's the result of consistent, often invisible choices that compound, day by day, dollar by dollar, decision by decision. The poor mindset chases quick wins, distractions, and comfort. The rich mindset, it builds systems, it delays gratification, it plays the long game. So ask yourself, which of these habits are you already doing? Which ones do you need to adopt starting tonight? Remember, transformation doesn't come from learning alone. It comes from execution, one habit at a time, one decision at a time. If you got value from this breakdown, make sure to follow for more practical money mindset shifts and strategy-driven content. Because financial freedom doesn't just happen, it's built. Until next time, keep stacking smart decisions and let your habits build your legacy.